I get this question rather often. What's the fair value of this altcoin? Is this altcoin likely going to go up or down based on its fair value? What's the inherent value? What's the utility? Where do you expect this to play out over the long term? I think that's the wrong way to think about the altcoin market, to think about crypto. The altcoin market is incredibly irrational. And that makes a lot of sense because nobody knows how to value a token, right? We don't have, say, a discounted cash flow analysis for Bitcoin. Bitcoin doesn't have any cash flows. A lot of altcoins also don't have any cash flows, right? They only have, say, voting rights. It's a governance token. How much on earth is a governance token worth? How much on earth is it worth that you can vote on a proposal in some kind of forum about a decentralized application? Is it really worth tens of millions, hundreds of millions, billions of dollars all in aggregate? Probably not. Pricing is not determined by the fair value in crypto. Pricing is determined by attention. Pricing is determined by the narrative of the day. Pricing is determined even by technical analysis. Now, what is pricing then determined by? It is determined by self-fulfilling prophecies. If everybody believes that a cryptocurrency at a certain point in time is comparatively low, let's say on a chart, right? We have a sideways trading range relative to Bitcoin. We always bounce off a certain support. If enough people believe in that support, then that support will prevail. Because when the price is that low, then nobody else is going to sell at that point because people think it will bounce off. And a lot of people might buy again because a lot of people think it will bounce off. So if everybody thinks that the token will bounce, then it will indeed bounce. It's a prophecy that's self-fulfilling. Now, this is the example for technical analysis, but you can spin this further, right? You can spin this for the narrative. If everybody believes that the narrative of the day is meme coins and AI and DePIN, then everybody will speculate with those coins. Everybody will buy those tokens and those coins. And then, of course, this narrative will self-fulfill itself. It will be then the AI tokens that tend to outperform the rest of crypto. So does that mean that the AI tokens have more inherent value? Does it mean that the project will be more successful than others? No, of course it doesn't, right? It's simply just a speculation of the day. There's a twist in form of the time horizon. You do want to go with the narrative of the day in the medium term. You do not want to go with the narrative of the day in the long term. So let's say there is a somewhat fixed amount of number of traders in crypto. Let's say it's, 10 million traders. And now we've got this narrative of the game play. And now a lot of those people get into, say, meme coins. And so all of those people are trading meme coins.
Here's the problem with crypto YouTube. People promoting becoming degen or buying 100x coins. That's what gives clicks, but that's not what's going to bring you forward. I refuse to take money from centralized exchanges. I refuse to take money from crypto projects. I refuse to pump and dump a coin and filling up my pockets in the background. I don't do any of this. Instead, I share my knowledge in the form of tutorials in the premium membership. So that's content that won't do well on YouTube, but that builds up skill over time. You can also directly contact me over there. You can directly pick my brain. Feel free to check it out. TheBitcoinStrategy.com is the link.
Now what happens after a while? This whole conversion or this whole adoption of the current trader base to the meme coin market takes a while, right? It doesn't happen from today to tomorrow. It might happen over some weeks. It might happen over some months. After that conversion is done, then the prophecy will not fulfill itself anymore. Then suddenly the meme coins don't outperform the rest of crypto anymore. So there is a point in the market where this medium-term trend following flips around and where you don't want to be following the trend anymore, where you want to be contrarian. So the longer the time horizon, the more you want to be contrarian. If we are in a bear market in Bitcoin for an entire year and Bitcoin has already dropped 60-70%. They don't just want to follow the trend, right? You don't just want to sell as well. You want to be one of the few people that bet against the trend, that pick up those cheap Bitcoin. The same is true when we are already for a very long time in an upwards trend, right? When everybody is, say in Bitcoin, already 200, 300, 400% in profit, even the short-term traders, then people will at some point rebalance their portfolios, right? When they just started out with, say, 10% of their wealth in crypto, suddenly it's 50% of their wealth, they will take some chips off the table, right? Because the market in general is high, but also in general, they don't want to be exposed to that much volatility relative to all of their wealth. So they de-risk and they might adjust this back to, say, their 10% exposure. They might not sell everything, but they might simply just have the same exposure they used to have. And so on the medium term, you want to be with the trend. On the long term, you want to be contrarian. And so what's the perfect duration for medium term? I've calculated this, I've tried to estimate this with moving averages, right? Whenever the price goes above a moving average, we're pretty much trending upwards. Whenever the price is below a moving average, we trend downwards. And you can make a back test to find out what's the best duration for a moving average. For Bitcoin, that's roughly the 120-day moving average. So when you use the 120-day moving average, you're following the trend. So when the price is above, you want to be long. When the price is below, you want to be potentially short. You want to bet on falling prices in the medium term. Of course, there are always reversals at some point in time. That's why we look at things like the value days destroyed. That's why we look at things like the market value to realized value. We still want to look at the long term. But if you're simply just riding those medium term waves, 120 days seems to be right for Bitcoin. I am not sure what's the right duration for, say, the narrative trading. Like as in, how often do narratives change? When will we see a stop of the meme coin trading frenzy, for example? That's very hard to estimate. But at least we do know that at some point this flip will happen, right? As more and more traders adopt that narrative, at some point there won't be enough new traders to jump on this anymore. And then the prices won't outperform anymore for that narrative relative to others. And that's then where normally the flip happens. So forget this whole idea of fair value of a crypto token. It does not matter. What matters is supply and demand is mainly driven by whatever people currently cling to. So that can be narrative, that can be technical analysis, that can be all kinds of things, but it's unlikely going to be the inherent value because that's super hard to estimate. Most people in crypto aren't very skilled, and so don't assume that people try to make fair value calculations, and that's then how demand versus supply will long-term play out. This is unlikely, simply because most people don't do it, right? If nobody does it, then why would the price go there? You have to go where most people are going. And if most people follow narratives, if most people do technical analysis, then that's in the end what self-fulfills itself. So it's the irrationality that we have to trade. We have to be rational about how irrational other people are. And we don't have to get caught up in whatever we calculate in our fancy Excel sheets. That's not what's driving the prices. If it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe. I publish videos regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. See you next time. Cheers.